Welcome to This Explainer. I'm so pumped you're here today because we're unpacking a highly misunderstood, totally fascinating, and frankly, absolutely crucial personality trait, the deliberative theme. If you've ever found yourself wondering why some folks just naturally spot all the hidden traps in a grand plan, or why they always take a beat before charging in, well, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to break down how this mindset operates and why literally every successful team needs it. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. It's a classic proverb, right? But for a deliberative thinker, this isn't just some catchy phrase. It's basically their entire operating system. It perfectly captures their deep-seated belief that careful planning and thoughtful prep are always better and way less costly than running around scrambling to fix entirely avoidable mistakes later on.
Here's our roadmap for this explainer. First, the deliberative mindset. Second, adding value through caution. Third, what deliberative thinkers need. Fourth, the balcony and basement. Fifth, blind spots and misunderstandings. And finally, contrasting the deliberative theme.
All right, let's dive right into Section 1, the deliberative mindset, subtitled The Unsung Protector. The specific framework we're pulling from today is the SwitchOn Strengths model. It does a really brilliant job of isolating specific behavioral themes to help us tap into our natural talents. And honestly, their breakdown of the deliberative theme is incredibly sharp.
So what does it mean to be deliberative? Well, these are individuals who are careful, vigilant, observant, and risk-aware. They naturally prefer to think deeply, and they value accuracy over speed before acting. I want you to think about your own team for a second, or hey, maybe even yourself. Do you recognize this person? The one who just naturally steps into the role of risk assessor? The protector who is quietly evaluating the consequences while everyone else is just getting swept up in the hype? That's the deliberative mind right there.
Move into Section 2, adding value through caution, or the risk assessor's contribution. Now, the things listed here aren't just nice behaviors. This is a literal survival guide for avoiding disaster on any major project. Deliberative individuals bring thorough, careful decision-making. They anticipate risks and obstacles long before they happen. And in times of crazy uncertainty, they're your anchor, bringing stability and sound judgment based on actual thoughtful analysis. Plus, maybe most importantly, they're the ones brave enough to ask the really critical questions that everyone else is just rushing past. Let's look at Section 3, what deliberative thinkers need. This is all about creating the right environment. If you're leading a team with deliberative thinkers, you've really got to understand their ecosystem. They absolutely need time to think before responding. You can't just demand a snap judgment and expect magic. They need opportunities to plan ahead. They require trusted, competent relationships and a workspace that genuinely values thoughtful decision-making, rather than one running on constant impulsiveness and pressure. Give them these things, and you'll completely unlock their protective potential. Next up is Section 4, the balcony and basement, the duality of high vigilance. Think of this as a double-edged sword. When this trait is well managed and at its absolute best, what we call the balcony, these folks are wise, prepared, and dependable. They look at problems from all angles, they stay calm under pressure, and they bring vital info to the table. But when that exact same natural caution is overused or unmanaged, they drop into the basement. They hit analysis paralysis. They struggle to make quick decisions, they get overwhelmed by information, stuck in this fear of making mistakes, and they can even come across as overly serious or distant. The exact same trait that saves a project can absolutely stall it if it's left unchecked.
I really want to stress this point. Collapsing into analysis paralysis, it isn't some character flaw. It's just a symptom of over-indexing on a completely natural instinct to prevent errors. Basically, they're just trying a little too hard to keep you safe.
All right, Section 5, blind spots and misunderstandings, the empathy gap. Because they naturally process things so carefully before acting, other people often misread them completely. Their caution gets misunderstood as fear or just being slow. They might come off as emotionally reserved or distant. Since they're so laser-focused on getting things exactly right, they might struggle to openly hand out praise. Their overthinking looks like hesitation, and pointing out risks makes them seem like a downer. Think back for a minute. Have you ever misjudged a cautious colleague as being slow or negative, when in reality, they were just doing all the heavy analytical lifting for the team? So, the crucial takeaway here is that perception definitely does not equal reality. What looks like emotional distance or fear from the outside is very often just intense internal focus and careful consideration on the inside.
Finally, Section 6, contrasting the deliberative theme, finding your place in the ecosystem. This is a great way to see the difference in motivation. A deliberative person says, I meet deadlines because it makes me feel good. That is a completely internal motivation rooted in caution and keeping order. Now contrast that with an activator personality who says, I meet deadlines because it makes others respect me. That's purely external validation. The deliberative thinker is driven from within, purely by the satisfaction of a solid, thoroughly prepared, risk-free outcome.
Oh, I love this metaphor. You know the phrase, right? For a deliberative person, people might say they can't see the forest for the trees. They zoom way in. They focus deeply on the critical details, the prep, the specific obstacles in the way. But then look at someone high in a trait like Wu. They can't see the trees for the forest. They're all big picture, broad strokes, totally glossing over the details. You absolutely need both on a team. But make no mistake, the deliberative thinker is the one actually making sure the foundation is rock solid. When you boil the whole shebang down, the core takeaway is this: thoughtful action over speed. We live in a business world that is obsessed with moving fast and breaking things. But the deliberative protector operates on a totally different frequency. They're the ones making sure that when we do move, we don't break the things that actually matter. Basically, they make sure we survive the trip.
So, I want to leave you with this final, really vital question to chew on. Who is the ultimate risk assessor on your team? And honestly, are you giving them the time they need to think? Figure out who that person is, give them the space they require, and just watch how their careful vigilance transforms your next big project. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep learning.